Hello, everyone. Welcome to this stream. I'm SpaghettiOs, and I'm joined with Toasty. How you doing, Toasty?
Not too bad, not too bad. Excited to get in and cast some 3.9 gameplay, or potentially some plat gameplay, as we've just been talking about. Scrim SR inflation, that's how it be, but yeah, we get to see Budget Shock today, and I've seen none of this team, but the irony of it is that they have a player called Fusion Finn on their team, so you already know that these players don't synergize with their team name.
or maybe that's just the tactic, you know? Make 8-Bit think that they don't really know where they're coming from, and then bam. I mean, all I'm saying, in lobby, they almost have all the same profile picture. So they're almost cohesive. It's only Oggy missing the San Francisco Shock, the San Francisco Shock profile picture. So they're pretty organized.
And I mean, we were talking about Oggy a little bit, obviously, before this broadcast started. You know, a lot of rumors going around. They're kind of an MTD, we'll call them. You know, always pretty good on the main tank, so hopefully that's a player we'll be mentioning quite a lot during the series. But yeah, you're lucky you can see the lobby. I didn't even know that Oggy didn't have that profile picture on. So, are 8-bit matching? Do they have like a theme going on?
No, I mean they're a lot less organized. Pretty much all over the place, I'd say. Hopefully, that's not reflective of their playstyle. You know, I believe in 8-bit. I think they've got a chance. Not that I've seen them before, but you know me, I'm always the optimist.
Always an optimist, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about unorganized as well, I mean, have you seen my freaking? Have you seen my bedroom? Like, what is this? I got like a dead Eevee over there. Look at that Eevee. It's just flopped over. My bed's not even done. Like, what is it? What is this? But
it's style. You're a trendsetter.
Yeah. I mean, listen, your room has like the vibe to it. Like, I've got like the gamer man cave vibe. You've got like the you're an English lit major
literally
vibe. Yeah.
I mean, that's funny you mentioned that. I'm literally just in my mum and dad's house, and this is like their creepy room that they put all the photos in. So I feel I'm being watched from all angles.
Yeah, I mean, lots of eyes on you. I mean, we're casters. You got to get used to it, you know?
Maybe I like the spotlight. Maybe that's why I'm here. But it does look like we are in game. First map, Busan. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Busan, a map that obviously a lot of teams have started to warm up to over, I think, in recent ages. Lijiang, Kings Row, those types of maps that used to be super popular are kind of falling off because 6 years of those maps and it kind of gets old, it kind of gets stale. Busan gives you a lot of variety in what you can play here. Obviously, we're getting teased at some Sombra Reaper 6-man here. Could be a mirror on both sides with that composition, and I wouldn't complain. It's a really dynamic comp.
I do love it. I especially love at the very beginning, there's always a massive race to get to that pack, get that health pack hacked as soon as possible. And then, yeah, it's just straight into the action, a very mobile comp, a lot of action happening. We do see Lenoe tease the Ryan Winston, although, just as I say that, looks like they're going to switch. So, yeah, looks like almost a mirror match, like you said. Or actually, a complete mirror match coming into this. Both teams going to converge onto the pack. It's all about who gets that hack off first.
Yeah, for sure, and it will be Budget Shot getting that 8-bit just a little bit late to the party, and Hira does almost get caught out there, has to back up a little bit, same with Jack, both Sombras out of the fray. 8-bit, though, they're taking a lot more damage. Melee meta has almost fallen to Jisung's Reaper, just mowing him down. Obviously, the Reaper does a lot of damage to the Winston in this composition. There's the hack, though, onto Winnable. Complete and utter follow-up onto that as well. OG getting that kill. And Budget Shock should be able to follow up on this. They are losing their health pools quite a bit, though. The point should be what they prioritize now.
Exactly, and it looks like they're going to rotate back to point, try and get that pressure up, and that is going to be them handing it down. Budget Shock with the initial cap. Looks like going straight in with a Coalescence, though.
Yeah, very early call actually here. Budget Shock just trying to make sure they get a bit more percentage on board. With Hira TPing away though, has that EMP, so removed from the fight, can't quite use it here, not that they'll need to. They find Luxman early, and 8-bit, they should have disengaged by now. They're still fighting it out, and OG is still investing. Actually uses this Primal Rage, perhaps forced out there by 8-bit, who managed to follow up on that hyper aggression, and they force the Primal Rage.
I mean, yeah, Oggy, we said at the beginning, was someone to keep your eyes on. I was assuming on the Ryan, because in the Goats tournament they popped off there, but on the Winston, they're just as strong. Looking like we're coming up on a lot of ultimates here. 2 EMPs, and there's the first one.
Yep, first one coming in with the Coalescence as well, 8-bit. They're going to get EMP'd themselves, though, as Jisung follows up onto it. The Death Blossom finding 2, looking to follow up onto Glem. Going to use that bomb to make sure they can get a remake shortly. Won't catch any kills with it, but taking down Fab is extremely good here for Budget Shock. You remove that beat from the team fight. 8-bit should be able to follow up on this now, especially with a couple of ults invested towards the end. You've got this Primal Rage just to force Budget Shock away, but they're going to continue stalling. They've got another Coalescence built up from Fusion Fin here. Will actually deal a lot of damage to melee meta, but Luxman's beat will keep them alive just a little bit longer. The fight will keep raging on here, though.
Oh yeah, still picks coming through. Budget Shock are not done yet as they start to ingress on the point, and finally they get the damage down, get the picks. Hera on that Sombra with a nice double kill to finish it off. And yeah, Budget Shock looking very strong at the moment. I gotta say, Fusion Finn with these Coalescence has been charging them up just so quickly, raining down lots of healing and lots of damage as well. But yeah, coming into the next fight, looks like Oggy has that Primal Rage up and running in case he needs it. But it is going to be all eyes on Jinsun with that Reaper ultimate to try and defend the point. 8-bit, the pressure is definitely on for them at the moment. It ticks into 70%, 20% left. Can they hold it down? That's the question on everyone's minds.
We'll see. I mean, Luxman doesn't have a sound barrier to deal with the Death Blossom. Good peel there from Jisun to force Jack away, making sure that EMP can't come through too early. They're going to go for it. 21 HP, barely gets it through. Winnable pops the Death Blossom, and that's a 3k to just completely clinch the team fight there. Budget Shock get mowed down as quickly as they engaged, and the flip will come through, but 8-bit have quite the road ahead of them.
Oh, they definitely do. I mean, that road is going to consist of 5 ultimates from the side of Budget Shock. Not a place you really want to be in, but there's not much they can do. They only really have a Bomb and Primal, both tank ultimates. Maybe a beat if they're lucky. That Lucio hiding in the top there does get caught out. It's going to be the bomb early by 8-bit.
Oh, and it's really good there. Glem finds 2 just in the back. Fusion Finn and Fab weren't far enough forward even. It's rare you hear me saying that because I don't like aggressive teams, but Melee Meta getting a couple kills towards the end shows just how aggressive they can be.
I mean, that was a really good hold by 8-bit. They got rid of 3 ultimates there, all in the space of, yeah, not a lot of time. So they did really well holding this down. Now it's up to 60%. I guess Budget Shock should be a bit... Oh, they've caught him out. No, does not get the remake kill. Gonna send in the bomb.
Yeah, the bomb actually forces out Luxman's beat as well, so Fab is going to respond, get the later one, should allow for some more aggression, but Budget Shock have not found their way in. Jisun finds Jack W and removes that Sombra from the team fight, but right now, they have no ultimates to really make anything of it. That hack onto Melee Meta does all it needs to, though. No disengage for the Winston there, as Jisun follows up on that perfectly. Has really been a crucial player thus far for Budget Shock, as they find Asuno in the backline as well, removes a Translocator, so Jack W has to hard commit onto the point now, no second chance, and there we go, the cleanup comes through, and Budget Shock looking pretty clean in that first round. Will continue on the OT here, but Coalescence comes through, should clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, should clean it up. Budget Shock look like they have this one down pat, and that was just very good play by Budget Shock there, you know. I really liked how they held onto those ultimates, despite a lot of them getting worn down by 8-bit near the end there. They still push through, and I don't know, they just seem like their heads are definitely in the game, at least for that first match.
Yeah, for sure. Budget Shock, they do stumble a little bit. 8-bit had 87% on the board, so it wasn't exactly a clean sweep on that first round by any means, but Budget Shock, be happy they get that first round. This is a scrim, of course, so no one's really counting. They're just happy they sort of got the good practice in on that composition, and now moving over to a completely different composition. Jisun appears to be remaining on the Reaper, could move over to a Mei of some kind, but we'll see. Yeah, looks like the Mei here for Jisun, and actually, if this is going to be a mirror, if Hero does go over to a Cassidy, or stays on the Doom, it's actually quite a dynamic matchup, right? Because of the Cassidy versus Doom. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Hero's going to definitely be looking for some hero plays, diving in there, trying to bob and weave outside of Winnable's flashbang. So yeah, I really do like the composition that Budget Shock are going for. I keep wanting to call the Budget Spitfire. But I do like this comp. It's a bit slower. They're playing with the Zarya, so they're going to want to charge up those Zarya bubbles as well by getting Oig in there and bubbling the Doom Fist. So I do quite like this. Not often you see this comp come up. Quite a throwback to the early days. But both of these teams are out. Let's see who takes control of this high ground.
And there's some clean synergy with the Zarya, the Doomfist, and the Rhine here. Can use those bubbles for either of those players and allow them to go aggressive. Hero doesn't get the better end of it in that situation, though, as Glem cleans them up. Ogi now going to have a lot of pressure on them as the Mei is just going to wall them off, finds that pin. Melee Meta follow up onto their Mei. And now they should be able to get a bit more ult charge off of these extra kills as well. Not capping the point, though, so giving up some percentage for it.
Yeah, wanting to charge up those ultimate banks nice and quick, and I think it pays off. Like, Winnable almost 25% away from that high noon. They already have the BAP window, and, you know, they ultimately have a lot more ultimate percentage than the Budget Shock. So they are in a good place, 8-bit here, and a beautiful Maywall sectors off the Ryan.
Oh, that is clean, and again, another situation where Ogi kind of gets segmented off from the rest of their team, probably a little bit too aggressive and not sticking as close together in that sort of death ball style as he would like.
For sure. Looks like, well, Budget Shock are doing a great play here. Just collecting themselves, biding their time, going to rotate around this right side. Potentially going to use that window nice and early by Fusion Finn, but the wall comes out yet again.
And again, it segments off the Baptiste and the Reaper. The Reaper obviously has that get out of jail free card, but no one else really has that, as Hera, Fusion Finn fall first. Melee Meta going to go for a bit of an inspirational pin, and that'll actually be the mistake that potentially costs them the team fight. Now it's all up to G-Sun to follow up on that Shatter's damage. Luxman goes down, bit of a Lucio diff there in the kill feed, as Hera is returning pretty quickly on that Doom. High Noon from Winnable, though, clutches a team fight potentially, misses the shot into Fab, but just completely dominates them. Following up on their own mistake there. Now Winnable does go down. Hera has to try and clutch this up, but they're going to disengage. They do not want to stall this out any longer.
Oh, that was such a clutch play by Winnable there. Getting that triple kill, almost completely reversing their mistake in the beginning, but they do hold on to point without it being capped, and that puts a lot of pressure on Budget Shock. 70%, not a lot of time. Here comes the bomb, nice and early from 8-Bit.
Oh, and the timing on the Maywall there is brilliant. It goes against the Maywall for a couple of seconds and slides right over it, finds 2. And the rest of the squad for Budget Shock is just left fumbling on what to do in that scenario. 85% on the board now.
I mean, this is pretty different to the first map. 8-Bit seem to come into their own when it's on the Brawl compositions. All we really have coming into this next one is a potential Doom ult, maybe a grab that could save Budget Shock. But they are going to come in here the same way as before. Looks like Hera going to come in from the bottom as it ticks into overtime.
Right, Grav gonna come in, so a Space Jam combo is possible into that. Will execute the Reinhardt, but a well-placed Immortality keeps Melee Meta alive there. Gonna conserve as much of the HP as they can, but a great shatter comes in. OG gonna follow up on the rest of the squad there and flip this back over. But man, they're gonna have a hard time bringing it all the way back.
Or hopefully their mental is in it. Maybe if they're on it, they can pull this through. We've seen it be done before, so it's not impossible, but oh my god, will it be hard. They do have both support ultimates to play with. Maybe that Lucio beat can help with the Shatter or the May coming through from 8-Bit. 8-Bit gonna do what Budget Shock did to them, take this rotation nice and close to point. Gonna come out nice and quickly with a wall to engage.
Yep. Early wall comes through, no real value gained off of it, though, as Melee Meta maybe a bit too aggressive there. G-Sun in with the Death Blossom, moved up into the air, so it's more of a Death Helicopter at this point, as it finds 2 very crucial players there on 8-Bit. Melee Meta and Nasuno go down, and it should just be the follow-up here from Budget Shock.
I mean, yeah, that helicopter play there by G-Sun, very, very good. A lot of value from those ultimates as well, but those were really their only 2 golden tickets that they had. They could potentially charge up a Shatter or a Grav, but in the face of a bomb of Winnable's pure skill and High Noon, it's looking pretty dicey this next fight. It's the one to lose if you are an 8-Bit fan. Looks like 8-Bit going to do a sneaky rotation there, catches Budget Shock off guard, and now they come in on the high ground.
Yep, TP in there from G-Sun, forced away by the High Noon and Winnable. Maybe using it a little bit early will zone off Budget Shock and give them the time to gather themselves. OG, though, again gets walled off. Bomb into the back from Glem, destroys the Immortality, and that will make sure that Reinhardt goes down. It's all down to Hera here with the clutch on the Doomfist. Meteor Strike in. Won't execute Melee Meta just quite yet, but gets a slam in anyway. Seismic Slam will execute Melee Meta. And even though Hero does fall, I think the work has been done. TP up to the high ground from G-Sun just to kill off some of these players. But actually, Hero and G-Sun both going down. No damage here for Budget Shock, but 8-Bit going to collect themselves. They have one more fight to go.
Yeah, I mean, they've really let a lot slip here, 8-Bit. I mean, they've charged up, or managed to charge up, both of their tank ultimates on the side of SF. So, oh, here comes the beat and the grab.
The C9 grab as well, no one can touch. 8-Bits forced all the way off that point up on the high ground. Great timing there from Luno, and honestly, maybe a bit of a mistake from Glem not realizing that was a telegraphed grab. Could have eaten it up there, I think.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that was such a well-placed grab. You gotta love the C9 grabs.
Oh, yeah.
They are just so perfect. When they get everyone in, you just feel so stupid for getting caught into there. But it's an easy thing to do, and eating grabs, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do. Granted, a lot of divas out there have that skill to do it reliably, but, you know, I definitely can't do it. Don't know about you, Toasty, but my diva's not up to that standard.
I mean, listen, Toasty and Goats era,
Ooh.
absolute menace on a diva, honestly. It's weird, because I went from playing D.Va and Goats to then being a Mei OTP for 2 years, so...
Ooh,
you know.
a bit of a wide switch, I like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it keeps the sort of, Goats style, doesn't it, right? The Mei has that sort of all-in style. We didn't actually see the Mei get too much value there for 8-Bit. In that second half of the last round, we saw Budget Shock favoring Jisun on the Reaper. Any particular reason why they might have done that?
I don't know, I think the close-up damage just comes in so clutch, especially when you're playing these brawl comps, you're playing in these really tight and close spaces. Having that Reaper just get up close and personal can be a real nuisance, as well as getting those good ultimates. I mean, they can be quite easily countered, especially with a nice flashbang or a stun. You know how much CC is in the game.
Oh, yeah.
But, if you do get one off, surprise... it can, pay out big time, and it did. We did see some helicopter Reaper ultimates get a double kill in that previous match, so it can be done really well. But we are going to get into this next one with pretty similar comps on the board.
Yeah, for sure. It's ball sig on both sides, with the main differences being in the DPS, right? You've got the Ashe versus a Soldier. Winnable's going to be able to put up a bit more sustained damage, I think, and really pester out Luno, as we're seeing here, but... Jisun, I think, is about the insta-kill potential and those dynamites, so we'll see what sort of matchup goes like. Luno looking to get into the back line right now. We'll have a nice pile drive onto 3 of the plays, but no one from Budget Shock is there to follow up just yet. We'll push on to the point, of course, have OG holding that down. Luno, though, gets bashed up, taken down, and that is 8-Bit. Finding the Wrecking Ball, it's still a bit up in the air, but Jack W finds Hera, and I think that is a difference maker.
Oh, for sure. I mean, some great early picks there, and 8-Bit just kind of need to hold down this point, get those remaining kills, get rid of that high ground presence that Budget Shock have under their control. And yeah, really nice clean first fight there from 8-Bit. They've managed to charge up a lot of ultimates. I mean, that Tracer, Jack W, has a much higher advantage on the pulse than Hero. Such a nuisance to the backline of Budget Shock. We do see some rotations coming in now. Looks like 8-Bit want to try and take control of that high ground away from Budget Shock. They do have that pulse to work with. Both teams approaching the mines. Looks like Fusion Finn lagging a little bit behind on the Zen ultimate. So those are the real main cards coming into play next fight. We do see 8-Bit still holding down this point, 34%. Budget Shock just taking their time, going to approach from above. Ooh, what a nice pulse.
Yeah, clean pulse there from Jack. So, Zenyatta's gotten here for Budget Shock, and I think they're just going to back up. It is quite hard to disengage at this point, though. They basically just int in and hope for the best there. Fab and Jisun go down. It actually gives 8-Bit a lot more percentage, though, because look where melee meta is. Yeah,
I mean, a lot more percentage, that's for sure. And it just adds even more obstacles for Budget Shock to try and work through. They almost have the visor, they have trans mines. 8-Bit are doing such a good job at keeping that ultimate economy in their favor. Although, Budget Shock, not too shabby either. Almost ultimates across the board. So I think this next one is going to be explosive, that's for sure, as both of these teams collide on this high ground.
Yep, and it's all about that drum control as we get the mines on the point. That'll deny any value over there for the opposing side. 8-Bit, though, they're still focusing their forces towards the drum. Here are the mines now from melee meta. Doing a lot of damage, but the Transcendence was there from Fusion Finn. The later trans from Nesuna, though, isn't able to save Jack. They're too far away from it in that scenario. Obviously flanking as a Tracer should. And because of that, everyone else should snowball into a fight. Lost it. Just going to fall. Big flux comes through at the end there from OG, doing a lot of the work in that team fight. And you can tell from their damage numbers as well.
Yeah, I mean, we said it before in the previous matches. OG, a force to be reckoned with. That is for sure. We've seen them pop off time and time again, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon, as Budget Shock have quite a nice hold here. Once again, holding down this high ground. Looks like the rotation's going to come out from 8-Bit. Going to try and rotate onto point, it seems. But the beautiful pulse onto the ball is going to open up the fight.
Yep, and again, it's Jack W opening up these fights extremely strongly. Budget Shock have barely controlled the point for 30 seconds right now, as Glenn will end up going down. So again, it's OG being the difference maker. But that is going to be a pause mid-fight, and that is going to be incredibly tilting to whichever side didn't call that pause, because mid-fight pauses are a bit taboo.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best, really, not the best practice, but we're just going to have to work with it, I guess. I think someone was having some internet issues. We do see Jake W leave the game. They were the Tracer on the side of 8-Bit, which is a bit unfortunate because they were getting some really amazing opening picks. I mean, it seems like almost every fight that 8-Bit were winning, they were winning off the back of a great initial pick from that Tracer in the backline, just causing an absolute nuisance.
Yeah, and there was no clear indication there that Jack was actually going to be DCing, right? Because they got the pulse bomb to open up that fight. It wasn't, it wasn't incredibly impactful, because you see there towards the end, OG sort of does a lot of damage, gets that kill, and probably holds on to things here for Budget Shock. If I had to guess, it is mid-fight, but they have control of the point, they're playing defensively, and the Ashe tends to be better in those sort of defensive setups. Obviously, Spy Guy, I'm talking to air at the minute, so let's get your cam sorted. But yeah, you know, I mean, that map so far, Budget Shock feel like a lot of these fights are just being scraped out of just absolutely nowhere, as we've had an unpause coming in, it seems, and we're heading right back into the action.
Right back into the action, and looks like I think Budget Shock just did a good job of getting rid of that early pulse engage, getting the favor back to their side, and yeah, they have the point under their control. Hera has that pulse ready to be used, potentially for an opening pick, just like Jack W did to them. So there's still opportunity for Budget Shock to hold it down, although it's not looking too good, as the point percentage is all the way up to 99, so it is 8-bits, a fight to win. Looks like the engage is going to happen now, as both teams rotate onto the point.
Yeah, very preemptive pulse came through while you were talking there from here, and it doesn't really get much. Takes Glem low HP, but doesn't really do anything in terms of getting kills. As OG, speaking of kills, gets one onto melee meta. Also rocks up their enemy Sigma, so right now Glem being hit by that accretion, very low on HP, will be followed up onto, and Budget Shock, again in an incredible comeback fashion with clean shots from Jisun, will be totaling up to about 85% now.
Ooh, it's getting dicey. I love these moments where the point just gets neck and neck. Both of these teams are going to feel the pressure coming into this last one now. This is the fight to win. And I really can't place my money on who's going to win. Looks like an early rally on 8-bit is going to give them the sustain that they need to ingress onto that point.
But it's countered by the Bob that disrupts their rotation, prevents them from getting any value near the drum, and right now, again, it's a situation where they can't focus their forces towards the point, just like the end of Mecha Base. Visor's going to come through here from Winnable to force off anyone contesting this point, and actually, Budget Shock, they don't care. They're focusing their forces towards drum still as they find Glem. OG on the flank, finds a couple of kills, but no one is towards the point. That's a complete and utter C9 from Budget Shock.
Oh, unfortunate there. A shame from Budget Shock. They did so well to deny that early engage with the rally. They sent in the Bob, completely disrupted the rotation, but 8-bit just had that little extra bit of advantage. They didn't take the point into consideration and lost it in the end, so a bit unfortunate there, but I do think both of these teams are very close.
Yeah, both teams putting up sort of similar performances. Again, it's one of those situations on Sanctuary there where Budget Shock almost get a comeback story through on the map, and then that's the one map there at Sanctuary where 8-bit actually pull it back from that. And again, off the back of a C9. We've had 2 C9s, one forced, one non-forced, so I know Geo, I don't know if Geo still does this. Geo used to do C9 counters. G9 counters even during the casts, so you know, we got a what we calling it, a spag 9. We got spag 9s here. Is that a thing?
Sorry, I'm just trying to set up my camera. I think there's some issues going. I'll try and set it up as quickly as possible, but yeah, we got to get that counter going at least one. You know, because once one comes, you know more are going to come in the future.
I mean, you know, 2 C9s on map 1, if that's any indication of how coordinated these teams are in terms of their point presence, yeah, we're looking at a couple more throughout the series, I think. We will take a short... Oh, no, we won't. Okay, I was going to say we're going to take a short stream break to get your cam sorted out, but they're heading right in to King's Row as our next map.
Oh, absolutely love it. I mean, we've seen their brawl before being... pretty brutal on that first or second map in Busan. So yeah, both of these teams can definitely play brawl. It looks like Hyro is going for that Doom play, which I do love to see. They don't have the Zarya to support them, which could be a little bit more dicey, especially if Winnable is going to stick with that Cassidy, who's proved himself to be a force to be reckoned with. So it's looking a bit dicey for that Doom, but we'll see if it plays out.
Yeah, Hera has this interesting Doom Zarya style, and It kind of reminds me of sort of, I mean, post-GOATS, where Hackfist was a composition that was being played in Contenders, not Overwatch League quite as much, but sort of post-season Overwatch League, after finals, Hackfist was a composition being played, the Sombra, Doomfist, Zarya, alongside the other typical brawl picks of the Ryan, the Baptiste, and the Lucio, so it is very interesting. In fact, I think back in those days it was an Ana instead of the Baptiste, but it is quite interesting to see that pick being employed here by Hera. It did sort of work out, arguably, on Mecha Base with a couple of flaws to it, such as not being able to sustain those team fights through the Mei walls and having those cooldown rotations that really get value. It is sort of an all-in style here for Hera.
Exactly. I mean, they're in a pretty strong position. That's for sure. I mean, I do also want to point out as well, we do have Creed in chat saying they will sub in for the second half, and Creed is definitely one hell of a player to go against, that's for sure. They have shown themselves to be a really good tank player. I don't know if they're going to ring in for tank, but we'll just have to see. A little surprise on the horizon. As well, I also want to point out that Fab, the support player for Budget Shock, was part of our Lucio 1v1. They challenged the Fabiist to a Lucio duel. Unfortunately, the Fabiist did win that one, but Fab showed himself to be one hell of a Lucio as well. So, that's cool facts for you guys there.
Yeah, Battle of the Fabs, won by Fabiists, so truly the superlative of Fabs. Anyway, we do have, so, I mean, in terms of the rush here, if Creed comes in for the second half here for Budget Shock, I'm guessing, that's okay. I mean, we'll see how OG does on this map, but it could make a big impact. Creed obviously has a massive legacy as a Reinhardt player. I mean, I'm not too affiliated with Arena 51, but I've heard of Creed. Don't worry. We'll see what OG can put up here, as well as melee meta. That matchup is going to be something to look at, as well as Glem opting for the Zarya instead of the D.Va this time around. What do we think of that?
I mean, it's an interesting play. The Zarya's obviously mean you have to play it a lot more slow, charge up that energy. Looks like a rotation through Hotel is going to catch Budget Shock a little bit off guard, but not for long as they get a double kill to initiate the fight.
Yeah, solid double kill coming through, and to make it a lot more as well. Budget Shock with the early defensive aggression really catches 8-bit off guard there through Hotel.
Yes, that is for sure, and that was a nice clean defense there by Budget Shock. Absolutely love to see it. And yeah, they have a lot of charge on the Zarya as well. That's the advantage of running this Zarya on the defense. You can keep that charge between fights. You can keep that energy higher than the enemy Zarya. So yeah, they do have that slight advantage coming into this. Looks like it's going to be a rotation around Statue instead this time as Hero jumps into the backline.
Oh yeah, and like we say, that is that all-in playstyle. Does go a bit wrongly for Budget Shock, but Hera has a pretty quick return rate from spawn. Should be able to be here pretty soon. Budget Shock just have to hold out, but they get stunned out of that shadow. OG, that is incredibly unfortunate. And now the amplification matrix comes in 8-bit, trying to shoot through it in the face of Jisung's High Noon. Both of these ultimates haven't found anything for Budget Shock, while Winnable just says, you know what, I can do it better. Finds a High Noon, finds Fab with it. And there we go, they should be able to cap up the point now.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for Oggy there on Ryan. Got stunned out of the shatter, immediately frozen, and then bursted down through the BAP window. I mean, it's just the life of a main tank, I guess. Very unfortunate, but it's very fortunate for 8-bit. They have the payload, they have 4 minutes 30 on the clock, and they have the aggression immediately charging straight into the fray.
Yeah, you know what, 8-bit are taking a bit of a page out of Budget Shock's book. Oh my. Getting a solid shatter through there to clean up on Jisung. And yeah, that aggression here from 8-bit, again, I don't think Budget Shock expects it in that situation, the same as 8-bit didn't on that first fight.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that aggression, I mean, I want to say it came out of nowhere, but it's quite common to take that forward after the first fight. You want to maintain control of these streets and especially get past that archway. Such a difficult choke point to push past. But 8-bit did it. They managed it and they charged up some good ultimates for it and have a lot of space. So they're in a pretty good position. They have their D.Va pushing cart at the moment, so they are down one, playing a little bit safe as Budget Shock rotate into the fray.
Well, here's a Space Jam combo. The Grava and the Meteor Strike waiting for the immortality to go down. There we go. Jack falls, but Glem says, you know what? I'm going to maul your entire team. 3 kills coming through from that D.Va bomb. And that is exactly what you'll love to see from your off-tank. Glem has been popping off with those.
I mean, perfectly placed bomb there. I did see OG hold up his shield. I don't know if he was just out of position or if the bomb hit a bunch of people through a crack in a shield misplacement. I don't know, but either way, Clem did a very good job at placing that bomb, and you'd love to see it. You know, those big bomb kills are what we're all about. 3 minutes on the clock. Budget Shot going to rotate in to try and deny this this point cap. Looks like G-Sun, both High Noons come out nice and early.
Oh, displacement comes through there, though. Excellent boop there from Fab to make sure Winnable could get taken down away from the Reinhardt shield. Shadows come out there. Neither Reinhardt finds anything huge with it, so now it's just a scrap on the point. 8-bit, they're at the disadvantage. They've already lost a player, so they should be backing out right now as Glem unfortunately gets demech towards the end. That could be a bit of a boon here for Budget Shock as they follow up and get some more kills too.
Yes, I mean, they almost stumbled a little bit there as some of them dropped to the hands of 8-bit, but I gotta hand it to 8-bit. Very good job at getting out of there nice and quick. We do see Hera as well on the Doom doing a little bit of a sneaky play, hiding in this top bit here. Does not get noticed by the D.Va as well, so now that Hera dive is incoming as 8-bit, unbeknownst, rotating into the fray. Does get noticed by the D.Va, so Hera no longer has the element of surprise. 8-bit doing a good job playing nice and slow, going for a rotation and hiding outside of this window.
And Hera still has that get out of jail free card with that Meteor Strike, so should be able to either wait for the grab or just invest in. But Fusion Fin going down early, some clutch has to come up now from Budget Shock. Meteor Strike is in, Immortality won't be taken down, but very low on melee meta. Still, no one able to follow up on it there from Budget Shock. No one doing any work off of the back of their own Doomfist, and a bit unfortunate if you Hera there. You thought you had a great play, didn't quite work out though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a shame. A lot of things to juggle, and unfortunately, the dives just weren't quite synchronized. Budget Shock now have to defend this last point. Looks like they have a grab to work with, but they are going to contend with two ultimates coming in from... two tank ultimates coming in from 8-bit. That bomb, we've seen Glenn pop off time and time again, so hopefully they could get a nicely placed bomb to initiate the fight. There's almost a beat to try and deny, but the High Noon is going to be the first one.
Oh my goodness. Two ultimate cancels there, one of which onto the Grav, one of which onto the High Noon, and Glem still throws in that intercontinental ballistic missile and eviscerates the opposition.
That was insane. I think there's a real power dynamic here between Oggy and Glenn. Both of them just going neck and neck with these hero tank plays. Looks like Glenn, just to say that, does get demexed. A bit unfortunate there on that Baby D.Va. Does get the kill with the help of Jack W onto Jason, though. So they are one down. Here comes the Shatter, connects with one.
The Goomba stomp onto Glem with that Earth Shatter, but OG still in a precarious position, gets saved by the Immortality, but still on low HP, going aggressive with that Zarya bubble, looking to force melee meta back as they are just taking so many hits. It's the pace being set so much here by OG as they pin in as well, just racing towards the back line, and that is the main tank aggression you need to see here from Budget Shock.
That is very true. It's like a pendulum swinging. One fight, it's Glenn with an amazing bomb. The next, it's Oeg with a huge hammer swing, huge aggression plays. It's just back and forth so much. But with 1 minute 30, 8-bit are going to want this next fight to sway in their favor.
Well, early Ant Matrix there from Fusion Fin, and it's just kited by 8-bit. Nothing really gained there for Budget Shock, other than a little bit more time off the clock. Only about 10 seconds gained. And Hera's been actually spotted out, so they will have that Meteor Strike if they need it. Won't need to use it in this situation, though. G-Sun around the corner. High Noon finds two with it. That is lovely. Glem couldn't Matrix all of it up, unfortunately. Very tall order, to be fair. And potentially some extra kills as well, some staggers to knock more time off the bank. I mean, this has been a great fight for diminishing that time bank.
I mean, yeah, that time has just gone down and down now with 46 seconds on the clock. Oeg looking for a cheeky shatter. Does he get spotted? Does it happen?
Oh, it does, and the Goomba Stomp on the winnable. This is just an MTD. OG finding two, and everyone else will back off. Turntail towards the spawn room there for 8-bit, and now it's one fight territory.
Oh, it's getting so dicey. So much pressure is there. Hera on the back. Once again, looking for some plays. Here comes the cheeky grab as well from the top to potentially stall out for as long as possible.
Well, this is a potentially good opportunity to use that Meteor Strike. Hera gonna throw it in. There's a lot of damage to melee meta there, and the follow-up comes through from Luno. No one else alive here for 8-bit. A team kill for Budget Shock towards the end, and G-Sun puts the good old PG Tips teabag in their faces.
Yes, that is for sure. Just the cherry on top, I guess. I mean, they've just been such an amazing Cassidy player, I have to say. Popping off all the time. But, yeah, how do you think the flip side is going to go? How do you think their attack is going to fare after that amazing defense from Budget Shock?
I mean, with how OG is playing, the attack should be much better for them, even, right? I mean, towards the end, that third point was incredible from Budget Shock. They diminished that time bank down by about 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. It was in that sort of range, right? And that is an incredible feat on third point in King's Row, where controlling these corners, that sort of map control, when 8-Bit had that initially, it was looking like they would win it. So, pretty solid defense there, and if they can bring that same aggression, that same, I guess, cheesiness as well, with the flank shatter, the flank grab, the meteor strikes in combination with either of those, if they can have all of that going for them on the attack, all it takes is building up a good ult economy, and Budget Shock, it's just rote for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I absolutely love Budget Shock's play at the moment. They are just pulling a lot of sneaky tricks out the bag, and I think they're leaning in quite heavily to the element of surprise, and it's paid off for them big time. A couple of times we've seen some cheeky grabs to stop them from capping. We've seen some cheeky shatters as well. So yeah, I just really like this kind of high risk, high reward coming out from Budget Shock, and it seems to be paying off. That being said, they are going to opt for the Zarya, or potentially opt for the Zarya on attack, which I don't know. I don't quite like. I mean, you have to play it a little bit slower, and you will lose that charge if you will get wiped on the attack. We'll see how it goes as they come out the spawn doors. Hera still on that Doom, so they do have that Zarya to bubble them. Let's see how it goes, as it looks like they immediately get walled off.
Well, not really anyone caught out away from the rest of the team, though. I mean, Melee Meta is the one to get punished instead there, actually, is 8-Bit. Maybe went a bit too aggressive off of a false alarm wall. Can't really blame Jack W for that. They probably said, oh, everyone's walled, and there's a pin in, I guess. But, you know, very quick cap there for Budget Shock. You really cannot complain. There will be a re-engage, though.
They will, for sure. Let's see if they can touch in time. It looks like they can with a beautiful Mei wall. Here comes the re-engage. Can they stop it?
Well, Hera's doing a good job of stopping them instead. 8-Bit having a massive struggle to get in without taking a lot of damage. Nesuno's going to use that Amp Matrix just to throw in some more heals onto Melee Meta, who loses that shield. But either way, finding OG completely shuts down Budget Shock's chances, because you need that Reinhardt to anchor that point.
You definitely do, and without that Reinhardt, there's not a lot you can do. As Budget Shock going to try and regroup here. Maybe Jisung with an early engage of that high noon. Looks like there it is to try and chase him off the point.
And it's 33% they need, so they're just going to sit here and force them all away. Jisung lines them up, shoots them down like fish in a barrel.
Absolutely incredible. The triple kill coming out, and that is just what Budget Shock needed. A much higher time bank. 5 minutes compared to, I think, the 4:30 coming out from 8-Bit. And they're doing exactly what 8-Bit did as well. Chasing up, getting as much space as possible, holding this far corner nice and close. Looks like they're going to bide their time. Meanwhile, it is going to be Hera pushing that cart. They can get back nice and quick, so it's not too bad. 8-Bit looks like they've all regrouped now. They're just waiting for the moment to strike, and yeah, all in all, it's looking pretty good for Budget Shock. I mean, that time bank is definitely one to be proud of.
Yeah, and the ultimate economy is brimming for them as well. They've got both tank ults, the Meteor Strike, a lot to combo together here. As a bit of an unfracturous rotation from 8-Bit will catch Budget Shock off guard. They've got multiple angles to play off of now for 8-Bit, but they're going to rotate back and towards main. That's just used a bit of their resources from the Lucio they didn't really need to use, and the Shatter just laid it down. OG puts 5 of them on their backsides. Blizzard still invested because there's no follow-up there from Budget Shock. But guess who's here? It's Hera, finds 2 kills to maybe make it winnable. But winnable themselves finds a high noon onto Hera, and it's just fragging back and forth at the minute. But 8-Bit come out on top, winnable for 3k towards the end. Proves themselves as a better DPS.
Oh, yes. And I mean, that is one hell of a title to have. We saw both the DPS, really, of Budget Shock pop off previously. But Winnable takes back that crown on that Cassidy. Love to see it. It's now Melee Meta's turn to lay down a Shatter. Can they match the 5k Shatter from Og? I don't know. We'll see if they can. No cheeky strats, it seems. There it is, coming in, connecting with that Ryan.
Yep, coming in from the back ropes, but either way, both Reinhardts traded out. This could turn into a scrappy fight now as Hera caught out of position. Jack finds a stray icicle, so that will shut down Budget Shock's chances of winning a scrappy fight like that. And yeah, honestly, 8-bit, some good, I guess, synergy to keep a hold on a bit of a chaotic fight.
That is for sure. And coming into this next one, both supports from both teams have their ultimates up and ready. Those beats going to be crucial for potentially denying the 2 high noons that are also online. So all in all, a pretty even matchup as we come into this in terms of ultimates. Looks like the window going to be used first for 8-bit.
Wall will prevent it from getting value though as Winnable gets flashed up, almost taken down as well. Immortality saves them. Fusion Fin falls to a great fire strike from Melee Meta. Instant one-shot there. Hera's into the back though and disrupts so that Jason can get 2 kills with that high noon. Both tanks fall to it. And that right there is a perfect Doomfist setup using the uppercut to line up the high noon.
Oh, you love to see that kind of synergy. And it's just paying off big time for Budget Shock as they roll in. I mean, they used about half their time bank, or a bit more than half their time bank, to get the cut this far. Although it's not capped yet, there could potentially be a final contest from 8-bit as they're just regrouping. Or they could just let it slide. We'll just have to see. Looks like they just let it slide. They play for time. 3 minutes 30 on the clock for this final point. Definitely doable, especially with the caliber of plays coming out from 8-bit.
You need some aggression in this team fight though. Jack has a blizzard and they're going to use it. There we go. OG going to get caught in the midst of it. Still some trades coming out there as Jack W falls to Jason, but there's no other clutch kills really from Budget Shock here to turn the tide, so they will back up towards spawn, knowing they have good spawns anyway.
Yeah, that was a really nicely placed blizzard actually. It really cut the team in half. Throws Oeg on the other side of the map to his team, and yeah, with the Ryan gone, there's not much you can do in a brawl con. But they're back nice and quickly since they got that cap, ready to fight again, ready for both tanks to lay down their ultimates. Let's see if Glenn can get a nice bomb that we've seen them do so many times before.
Projected bubble is online here for Luno, but not able to save Fusion Fin, unfortunately, and didn't have the flick aim possible, or used it on a teammate. We'll never know. Either way, Glenn with a 2k in that team fight, again setting up 8-bit and stabilizing them on the defense.
Yeah, very nice. Love to see it. Glenn, such a great D.Va player, I gotta say. But it's now going to be all eyes on the tank line for Budget Shock. They have both of their tanks up and running, and we've seen them. Oh, I do like Melee Meta's cheeky shatter strike. Does get caught out, though.
Yeah, that is a great scout from Luno. I have no idea how they saw that, but the shatter goes down, actually. Cancelled again from OG as Grav will do the cleanup anyway, but a big ultimate investment in that team fight from Budget Shock. They're basically relying on the Amp Matrix now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not a lot to really rely on from Budget Shock, but they're going to try it anyway. They do have the window and potentially Hera ulting from above, but it's not a lot, especially with Owen caught out so quickly.
Yep, a bit of an overcompensation for the lack of ults there, I would say, for Budget Shock. They go so fast, so aggressive that it doesn't really come to anything. OG just gets sort of walled off and no one can save them because no one from Budget Shock is willing to go that aggro.
That is for sure. Nice blade, nice wall there. Completely denying the window from Budget Shock. They're going to just roll in anyway, probably push past this window or use that natural cover to shy away from it.
It's a good re-engage from Luxman though. That beat comes in at just the right time to sustain 8-bit, and now they throw the blizzard in. That actually is in an angle to find some of those players inside the Mega Pack room. That slows them down and prevents them from putting up any resistance as Jason and Hera go down. OG goes for a Hail Mary charge, finds nothing from it, and it's just the supports. Can't 2v6 unfortunately there. So Budget Shock are pretty much on their last legs now if 8-bit play aggressive.
Yeah, the pressure has turned up for them, and it's time to put that budget to work with 40 seconds on the clock. I don't know if they got this in the bag, you know, maybe Owen could get a nice shatter, maybe Jinsen could get a nice high noon, but the ultimate economy is definitely in favor of 8-bit at the moment. They're going to come around this corner nice and quickly, but Winnable immediately engages.
Yeah, and so does Hera. Contests the high ground there to make sure that Lucio doesn't have control of it. Jason's gonna use his high noon now around the May wall. Can't find any value from it though, and now Budget Shock are down on ultimates. They're relying on a shatter, but OG gets taken down by one from the opposition. Melee Meta just shatter bombing to find 2 kills, and that is pretty much it. You might get a touch from Fab, maybe, if they read it Lucio hard enough, but I doubt it.
I mean, that all eyes on Fab, really. We've seen them in the 1v1 tournament. Can they put their skills to good use? Melee Meta can with a double fire strike kill near the end. Beautiful combo there with that window, and that is going to be it. Very well played there by 8-Bit. And I mean, these teams, the games just seem to be getting closer and closer.
Yeah, that rush composition for both squads seemed so powerful. They had different strengths, though, and that's what it comes down to. That dynamic matchup towards the end there of that tank line specifically, I want to mention. OG was 95% towards that shatter. If they don't get shattered, they would probably get a 6-man shatter of their own, because that's what OG's been doing the entire time. It's been the main tank play for Budget Shock that's really impressed me, while 8-Bit's off-tank play has really been a boon for them, and right at the end, Budget Shock, they falter in that main tank play. Their one strength in that tank matchup, they falter in it, they get shattered, MTD'd, unfortunate, and they will end up losing King Zero because of it. And we're shaping up to have a really great series here, a really great scrim, I suppose, as Route 66 will be our next map, so we're going to get a massive compositional change, I think.
I know, could not be further from it. I will say, Toasty, you have a bit of a fan in chat. Francie Blaze says...
Francie Blaze!
I'm assuming you know him, which is great to see.
Oh, there's a whole story behind this. Francie Blaze was the off-tank, mainly the Sigma player and the Diva player on a team called Ludica Esports, who their signature composition was Roadhog Sigma. And I loved them for it, and they loved me for loving them for it. So yeah, Francie Blaze, good to see you. Is Jaggerjack still around, you know?
Getting those connections, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. But it's good to see. I love wild compositions like that. The Hog Sigma. Got to absolutely love it. It's a shame you don't really see too much Hog nowadays. I mean, maybe a pulled pork, but I mean, I haven't seen that one in a long time.
I mean, I was going to say that OG was teasing the Orisa there. We could have seen it, but we'll go over to the Sig. We'll see some Bull Sigs. This is what I think Sanctuary brought to us. We know how that went. Budget Shock C9'd it, so if there's anything we can take away from this one, it's that we might see a couple of those this Charlie Niners.
Ooh, how many are we on now? It must be about 3.
We didn't have one on King's Row, did we?
I don't think we did, so yeah.
There's only 2, yeah.
On 2. It's a shame. Maybe we'll do some C9 farming. I hope so. Do love a good C9.
Really?
But in the meantime, yeah, no, I just like it. It's just a very dramatic way for things to go.
I mean, it's frankly the opposite. It's anticlimactic. You know, you can have like the best team fight in Overwatch history brewing up to like some intense main tank play. The minute positioning matters the most, and then it's just you're off the point.
I know, it's like a harsh reminder of reality. It's like, you're doing all this crazy stuff, all this crazy team fight. It's very good job, but the point is rolling towards that objective. I don't know. There's something about it. Something about me really likes it, but I guess I'm always the optimist. Speaking of optimism, gonna come in here with a nice Monkey Diva comp, Monkey Rush comp for the attack of 8-Bit. Gonna try and immediately dominate this high ground. Do like this play, but it is scouted out by the Sigma with the support from the Brig. What do you think about this Brig support line? Does leave not a lot of healing, but I guess that plays into Budget Shock's favor.
Well, I mean, it's for the anti-dive, right? Both of these teams know it's Route 66. They know it's going to be a dive map regardless of what type of dive, so throw in that break. You need it on Fab's end to protect Fusion Finn, as G-Sun finds a first kill onto Jack there. You know, alternatively, other than the Brig, you'd have a Mercy here, but Fusion Finn would just get blown up, so... you know, trade either way here. I think Budget Shock should be fine. Hero can get back from spawn pretty quickly, and Winnable going down as well is a little bit of a boon for them, as Budget Shock still not really putting up any point presence, so it just rolls straight through halfway.
And yeah, we saw a little brief insight on why that Zen Brig composition works. The Zen can pump out so much damage. Brig can obviously defend from those dives. So yeah, it does work. Like you said, a Mercy might have helped juice in, maybe get some extra damage boost on that Ashe, but we'll just have to see. Looks like Budget Shock kind of regrouping in this lower ground here. Going to potentially dive up to Big Earls. No, it's going to be a Nano attempted on the support line, but immediately booped away.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to mention, everyone else in the lobby is on about 500, 600 damage. G-Sun is on about 2,300. That is incredible, and they already have the Bob to speak for it. Granted, Budget Shock will lose a team fight, but still some incredible gameplay here from G-Sun, and that's why you're playing the Ashe, for that sustained pressure on Jack on melee meta.
I mean, that is pretty nuts. 2,000 damage. 2,500. Absolutely incredible Ash play. Raining down damage from a distance is just pretty effective.
3k,
Although,
what?
it just keeps climbing. Just keeps climbing. Although the cart is almost going to be capped. The Bob going to be sent in the background.
Yep, Bob and Pulse Bomb both sent in. These DPS doing a lot of work right now for Budget Shock, I have to say. I just want to mention, per Dynamite, Jisung's getting about 300 to 400 damage per. That means they're hitting at least 3 or 4 players with each one, and perhaps 8-Bit are playing a little bit bad positionally, because they shouldn't be this close together and this, I guess, tightly packed.
I know, I mean, that's where the Dynamite gets the most value, when they're playing in these really close quarters, tightly packed play style. Though maybe if they spread out a little bit, they could avoid Jason just raining down so much damage onto them. But it is going to really sway into the defensive side here, especially with the ultimates that they have on hand. They have that Transcendence from Fusion Fin to potentially deny another dive. Here comes the Primal straight into the backline.
Oh, these juggles are clean. Fusion Fin forced to use that Transcendence there as OG invests the Flux, barely gets it off as they were on 1 HP. Jack goes down though again. It's Jisun being the player to speak of here for Budget Shock. They were dove in the backline but survive it somehow against all odds. Still putting in some pot shots towards the backline as the bomb goes in from Glem. Finds nothing this time around. Very uncharacteristic, I feel like, from this D.Va, but Luxman goes down. 8-Bit gonna have to reset, and right now it doesn't feel like it, but we're pretty much on last fight territory.
Oh yeah, 40 seconds on the clock, and yeah, you've got a long way to run. It looks like the Nano is really the main play for 8-Bit at the moment for this attack. Potentially nanoing the Winston for another dive. Beautiful sleep onto the Sigma there. Gets him sleeping on the Dob, but here comes the Nano straight onto the Winston. The rally as well to keep Budget Shock alive.
It's terrible timing on the Nano though. That rally comes through at just the right moment there. From Fab to deny all value that Nano Boost gets, and Nesuno has been building up to that one for a while. They haven't been able to really get one off yet, so not the best. As Winnable, okay, finds Hera. That's their opposing number that's gone down. You still got Jisun in the mix, and Winnable kills themselves with their own Pulse Bomb. And actually, Jisun D-Max Glem. It's not unwinnable here, but Budget Shock would have needed a miracle for that one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure. I think the DPS of 8-Bit just popped off yet again at the beginning. Winnable, I'm not sure you guys can see chat, but in chat he says, I don't want to talk about it. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
You know, accidentally falling off the map, accidentally dying to your own Pulse Bomb. I've definitely done it a handful of times, so no worries at all. As we go into the next section of the map, 2 minutes on the clock. Looks like Budget Shock are more or less in position with the Ash on the high ground, continuing to rain down so much damage onto 8-Bit. The Bull doing a good job scouting, does get caught out, but manages to roll out with their lives. Meanwhile, I think 8-Bit definitely have a lot of ultimates to spend, but Budget Shock, they're not too far behind, you know, both tanks, both DPSs, and a Trans, looking pretty dicey for this attack.
Alright, both Traces clearly not on board with the Pulse Bombs today as Hera misses theirs. Nano Boost goes on to Melee Meta, who jumps in with that Primal Rage, still batting around Jisun on the Ash, who throws in the Bob in a panic. That gives some point presence over and actually deals a lot of damage to Melee Meta there. They will get away towards the health pack, revive themselves back up, and yeah, the follow-up comes through there from 8-Bit. It's again, I feel like, in that situation, it's the anti-dive, actually, I feel. Glem and Luxman doing a good job of protecting Nesuno.
That is for sure, and the cart just keeps on rolling. Looks like Hera and Jinsun gonna make some switches here. Kind of debating a little bit of what they're going to, but eventually settle on the Echo Tracer. Fusion Fin with a nice early pick onto Winnable. Normally, it's the other way around, but Fusion Fin is just built different.
Yep. Seems like it is, okay, dive comes in here from Melee Meta. Forces Fusion Fin away from the rest of the team. That is unfortunate. Bomb will go in here, of course, from Glem as well. This time around finds Fab. And 8-Bit is starting to really get things rolling despite their sort of less than ideal time bank. They are making good time on the second point. Gonna get 2 minutes for third, which is better than you were expecting at the start. You were expecting to get full held at the start. And 8-Bit, their ult rotations as well, looking pretty good, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, 8-Bit, they have the Nano, they have the Pulse, and both DPSs, but they're looking pretty good, and they're not over-investing in every teamfight. You know, they're biding their time. They're making sure that they only use what they need to use, and it's coming in pretty clutch. 1 minute 40, you kind of have to have it come in clutch, because ultimates are the only way you're going to win this one, with the Nano coming in to early engage for 8-Bit.
I mean, you were mentioning the life of a main tank player earlier. Melee Meta is experiencing that right now. Gets discorded, boot by the D.Va, boot by the Break, gets just spammed out, and goes to 1 HP for most of that fight. So can't get value out of the Nano again, which Nesuno, you know, they've been having some decently timed Nanos, just not really getting the value on Melee Meta's side because of the peel here. As Budget Shock, you know, they're just going to push forward, get some extra value out of these Discords as well. Fusion Finn doing a good job on the Zen. We were talking about the damage they've been putting out, and it's really crucial.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's crucial not only for dealing so much damage, but also charging up that Transcendence. Such a crucial ultimate to have. And yeah, now Budget Shock are in such a good position. They just spent that fight denying a lot of the ultimates coming out, and now they have one hell of an ultimate bank. A beautiful double kill Pulse Bomb there.
Yeah, you can't be having that if you're 8-bit, letting your backline fall to Jason in one fell swoop. I mean, that just completely denies all the value 8-bit had in that fight. They were primal raging, they had opportunities to dive in, but the backline just falls, and an extra kill here onto Winnable is really good for Hero.
Yeah, I mean, that is absolutely insane. Very well played by Budget Shock at completely denying that fight, really, with just one ultimate. And now coming into it, they have 4 more. They have plenty of resources to invest. This is last fight territory. 8-bit need a miracle.
Well, Hero gets the Winston duplication. Gonna dive in now, give some extra pressure on the back line. His triple tank is not easy to deal with right now for Budget Shock. It's like we've gone back to 2019 here, Spag, as everyone is just falling to the tank line, being mowed down. The sustain is massive as well. The rally, sorry, not the rally, the Inspire from Fab is just always up, it seems. And even though they do go down, Glem and Winnable fall towards the end. It's just the Lucio and Nesuno here. And they will both end up falling to the DPS of Budget Shock, who, you know, towards the end here, they swap over to sort of the Echo and the Tracer, and it just pays out in dividends for them.
Oh, that is for sure. And I mean, to be expected, really, with the resources that they had, I gotta say, 8-bit put up a pretty decent fight. So, props to them, but I mean, yeah, with your backline going down early, losing the ultimate economy, all happening within the space of that last fight territory, it's just, yeah, a lot of L's in quick succession, gonna cause you to lose that one, as well as some great target focus from Budget Shock, completely denying that Nano Winston engaged multiple times. Not even using ultimates to deny it as well, just with the boops alone is enough to keep him at bay.
Yeah, I'd be confident saying over 50% of those nano boosts went to waste. Just based on Budget Shock's peel, right? I mean, you were questioning way at the start why they were playing the break, and
yeah.
in higher ranks, I mean, particularly sort of your 3.9k, aka your 3.4ks, because of Scrim SR inflation. You do tend to see a lot more of this Zen Brig Ball D.Va style. We haven't seen it much today, but like we say, Budget Shock are making good use of it, I think, just based on denying those nano boosts. First point, you had a couple of denies onto the nano boosts, which were the reason I think they were getting the full hold. You're playing the monkey comp specifically to nano your monkey, and if your monkey's not getting value because of a rally or a boop, it's a little bit, it just defeats the purpose of the composition, really, and Budget Shock are doing that in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big blow if that part of your composition can't quite work to its full effectiveness. Yeah, it kind of undermines the team. But, I mean, that being said, I think 8-bit did really well, despite the challenges that they went up against. And it looks like for their defense, they are going to go for a double shield with the Torbjorn. I do love the Torb. Kind of great at denying these dives with that turret. Raining down damage from multiple angles, and with Winnable as well on that Ashe, gonna rain down damage, potentially to do what Jason did to them, you know, getting that value with those dynamites, getting that value with that Ashe long-range damage.
Yeah, particularly, I just want to see how 8-bit are gonna deal with Hero's Widowmaker here. It is a double shield comp, but if anyone goes out of position, they get immediately executed, pretty much. We've seen how good Hero can be mechanically. We'll move over to the Echo, though. So their idea here is to just put in as much burst damage as possible. Maybe take down Nesuno or Luxman as quickly as they can. But what 8-bit are going to do here, they're going to play 2 off angles. The main area of the high ground with the Orisa. And then Glem's going to play an off angle with Winnable. And that should put so much pressure onto Fusion Finn. I mean, we can already see they've been taking so much damage.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all about those dual angles coming in from above. I mean, you see the bull rolling in there, trying to disrupt it, but 8-bit are there. They know where the dives are going to happen. They know how to counter it, and just like that, the attack is thwarted. And yeah, Budget Shock sent back, scrambling really for another attempt. The damage being rained down, but Winnable is there on that damage-boosted Ashe. That Mercy swap is just absolutely incredible for maintaining the damage output of that Ashe. We also have the bat for some insane healing as well. So all in all, 8-Bit looking pretty solid on this defense.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they could actually get a dive through and execute on one of these targets, but there's so much sustain there for 8-Bit. You have an Immortality, you have a Fortify for the Orisa, you have a Guardian Angel for Mercy. There's no isolation here. As Fab ends up going down just based on the long-range damage, the long-range poke. That's what 8-Bit are playing for here, as we can see from Winnable's POV, who is just clicking heads right now on the Ashe.
Absolutely, having a field day on that Ashe. And I don't know, I don't really know what you would have to do. Maybe coordinate. Oh, it looks like they're going to swap. That's their plan here, going for a nice double bubble, and I do like it. With the amount of damage being pumped out from 8-Bit, you can really soak a lot of that up for your own gain, for that Zarya to charge up the Nano and the Zarya charge as well. So I really like this swap onto the double bubble. If they play it right, it could really go well for them.
It's timed terribly though, because they're down on ults. They've only got a Pulse Bomb and a Valk for this fight, while 6 ults are online here for 8-Bit. They're going to use 2 of them, the Amp Matrix and the Flux. That finds OG very early on, and they're just funneling all of the players of Budget Shock into this low ground beneath Big Earls. Granted, Glenn will end up going down here. That Zarya Beam won't get denied by any sort of kinetic grasp, but still, 8-Bit, they have the advantage here, as Luno, I think, just accepting their fate with the emote.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you do? And yeah, I do quite like this. 8-Bit really showing up, you know, to Budget Shock, saying we can hold you down. But now that Budget Shock have worn down some of the ultimates, granted, 8-Bit definitely still have a lot of ultimate advantage, but you know, now Budget Shock are catching up. They definitely have a bit more of an advantage than before, and slowly but surely, hopefully, we see Budget Shock take the momentum forward. But it's eaten down a lot of the time bank for them.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they'll have this Nano Boost online, you're pretty much in 2-fight territory, which you don't really like to see here for Budget Shock. The Supercharger as well. Fusion Fin goes down right as they put off that Nano Boost, and the dive comes in here from OG. The Lamp is denied by Jason's Pulse, but the pressure on OG there, they throw in the Nano Boost, they throw in the Pulse Bomb, and they find nothing from it. 8-Bit are just sustaining through all these dives and putting so much burst damage onto OG.
They've just hard committed to the sustain and the damage. And I mean, with the bongos down as well, and the Molten Core on the floor, completely denying the dives to really have too much of an effect. But, I mean, that is 2 pretty good ultimates out of the way. They only have the supports and Bob online. So 8-Bit, you know, they're showing some weaknesses, but 30 seconds, it's not a lot of time to exploit those, especially if Og goes down early.
And the only reason these tanks are falling early like that is because of these early ult usages from 8-Bit. I mean, speak of early ultimate usages, they are literally going into the spawn with the Flux. Glenn will get punished for that one, as 8-Bit, they're gonna have to try and make sure there's no touch on the point. Granted, Jason on the Hanzo or Hera on the Echo are gonna be touching that. Looks like it'll be Hera getting in there. Has a duplication as the get out of jail free card. Duplicates the Orisa, so might have a Bongo coming up in this team fight to support their teammates, but OG goes down early. That removes any value these dives could have. It's all up to Jason to click some heads on the Hanzo, but there's currently a bit of an interesting interaction there with the Wrecking Ball. Doesn't matter, the rest of the team here for 8-Bit is just putting up the numbers. Fusion Fin goes down, so does Luno, and it's just that sustained damage that really pays out at the end here. As Jack W falls, maybe turning the tides a little bit, but there's a C9 there. No one can get on from Budget Shock despite 2 players being able to. And 8-Bit take map 3 very convincingly, I think, towards the end with a full hold.
Yeah, I mean, that was, pretty decisive there. I think just from their composition alone, maybe if Budget Shock swapped a little earlier, they could have regained that ultimate disadvantage sooner, had more time to execute those strategies, because at the end there, that final fight, they were getting some picks. You know, it was very neck and neck at some parts, but I don't know, 8-Bit just had the advantage with that early pick onto Og, managed to snowball that one into a win on that final fight, which was really their one opportunity to kind of take the comp to its full potential. So a bit of a shame, but I mean, props to 8-Bit for sticking out for that long.
Yeah, for sure. And well, look up there. We have the official Spag 9 counter. It is 3 C9s on board now. So yeah, quite interesting that you know, 2 of those were Budget Shock. One of them was sort of forced, right? So we can barely count it. It feels like Budget Shock towards the end there didn't really have a read on, like, compositionally how the game works, and Fundamentals like that, this SR level, and obviously with us being told that like 8-bit are, well, whether this is joking or not, we were told that they were plat. You know, it's quite incredible that they've made this a 2-1 right now. And it's all because Budget Shock, I feel like on Route 66 at the end there, just didn't know how to counter the double shield.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the double shield got the better of them a little bit. They were really trying to get that first initial comp working. But they were grouped up, like you said, getting a lot of value for 8-bit with those damage-boosted dynamites. And then, you know, they switched it out to a good thing, but too little too late. So a bit unfortunate. But I mean, I gotta say, these teams very close so far. I think we've been shown a variety of different playstyles and compositions from both of them. I can't really choose which team is better overall, but I gotta say, despite that, they're just very close. They're very close. We do have some ringers being swapped in, so the dynamic of both of the potentially Creed coming in, the dynamic could change a little bit. We also have Winnable. I think they said that they would potentially be leaving for a ringer as well because of internet issues. So yeah, some swaps out there.
Yep, some changes in the roster could throw a bit of a wrench in the works, and really, I think from this point forward, if you're playing with ringers, there's almost no point to scrimming. For these teams, you're not going to get the same amount of value, sort of team play-wise, right? So, not going to be using this VOD review content from here on forward. Granted, they'll still play because they want to finish off the scrim. It's courtesy, you know. And it will, of course, be this one coming up here. The 4th map will be my final map casting. I will have to dash off at half past. Hopefully it isn't like a massive, you know, really long stall on 2CP that ends up going over. Imagine that'd just be my luck, but
you never know with Overwatch. I think, luckily for you, they are skipping 2CP, so you've got to bullet there.
Yes, good. I hate 2CP. It's awful. I mean, Overwatch 2 isn't much better. Push is a horrible game mode. I have so many gripes about Push. It is terrible.
Oh yeah?
But it's better than 2CP.
Well, that's at least a tiny W. Why do you think it's so terrible? Is it quite similar in the way that team fights are quite long, or?
No, it's the issue of you win 3 team fights on the attack, or like at the start of the map, and you are basically guaranteed a win. I'd bargain, and I don't know if there are stats to back this up, but I would bargain there's about a 90% map win rate for winning the first 2 or 3 team fights on Push. Just because you get so much of a positional advantage, you get so much of a push bot advantage, that even if the team coming back, right, attacking the bot, will like win that team fight, they still have to push it back to mid, and then that's when they start progressing their points. And it's just a constant snowball and back and forth. I mean, we saw it literally this morning in Overwatch League. Chengdu Hunters, Hangzhou Spark. Chengdu got about 100 meters on the push bot, and Hangzhou Spark kept getting it to the middle, and then it kept going straight back because Chengdu won a team fight, lost a team fight, won a team fight, and you know, it's basically just very snowball based.
Yeah, it does sound very snowball. I couldn't have put it better. But, you know, at least there's some semblance of hope that it's better than 2CP. I mean, I haven't played Push yet. I haven't played Overwatch 2 yet. So I'm wanting to desperately when it comes out. So yeah, hopefully it's not as bad as 2CP.
I mean, I think it's better, just barely though. But either way, back onto the match at hand here. We do have Creed, who is coming in right now. So OG is going to move over to the off-tank role. Quite interesting. Like we were saying, Budget Shock probably won't get any VOD review footage out of this, because I don't think OG is typically going to be playing the Diva in this Ball Diva comp.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see how OG does. Maybe they are pretty flexible, can play both main tank and off tank. You never know, but we'll just have to see. I know Creed is definitely a main tank player. Definitely one for taking the spotlight in that tank role and dominating wherever he goes. I don't want to big him up too much. Obviously, Caster's Curse is always an issue. But right now, coming into this, my eyes are gleaning onto Gleam, who's teasing that hog.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it. If we do see it, it is actually, and I say this unironically, it is actually a hard counter to what Budget Shock are running, because instead of running like a Sigma, they're running the Diva, right? So obviously Glem has the anti-matrix, just throw in your hook. You can't matrix, boom, you're dead if you're OG. So you've really got to play well positionally. It also has the opportunity to flank and just walk on the back line, even if Fusion Fin gets an anti or asleep. You've invested most of your resources, and then you can't support your front line. I feel like the Roadhog as well, it'll synergize with the Pharah in that you're just putting in constant sustained damage and displacement, which, alongside the Wrecking Ball, it just creates so much chaos. And 8-bit, they've been thriving in chaos.
They definitely have been thriving in chaos. And right now, the spawn doors are open and the chaos is unleashed.
Hell yeah.
We have 2 pharmacies in the map, 2 sim TPs, both of them swap to the Tracers, and the Hog is in. The Hog has been locked in. The only difference between both these comps is that Hog and the Lucio. So let's see how it pans out as both of these teams clash.
Francie Blaze, if you're in chat right now, get Jaggerjack on the stream right now. Jaggerjack would love this. Jaggerjack is the Roadhog player for Ludicrous, by the way. Just what I was mentioning before. Yeah, so
get him in.
Yeah, get Jaggerjack in here just to watch it, right? I mean, the Hog play will be pretty inspirational. We'll see how it goes so far. Obviously, there's a bit of poke going on where G-Sun has fallen to Glem. That was a hook combo, obviously. That's how Roadhog tends to get those kills. As Hira getting a couple of directs onto the opposition, but not really any executions on the kills. As 8-bit, they need to convert the team fight still. They have the advantage in kills, and finally they get this cap up on the point after removing Fusion Fin, after removing OG, and I mean, they just have so much more point presence because of Glem, I feel.
Oh, for sure. That Hog pulling in work, even going for the aerial hooks as well. Absolutely love it. There's one thing I will mention as well. Apparently, Ness Uno from 8-bit is actually Danakji. Do you know that?
Danakji!
Yeah,
oh my,
there we
this
go.
is incredible.
Of all the scrims you could cast, this one is definitely it for you, Toasty.
It is literally just the what do you call it, the rekindling of the Ludicrous squad, honestly. But anyway, let's cover the gameplay a bit.
Getting sidetracked, my bad. We do see Glem with that Hog ultimate potentially going to be used in this tight, close space, but gets another pick onto Fab, and there comes the Hog ultimate to deny Budget Shock.
Okay, Fab going down. Budget Shock no longer have that anti-dive capability, not that it's the dives they really need to worry about here as Glem is running it down in the front line on the old Hog. Fusion Fin gonna get Dove hit, no break to protect them as of right now. Fab gets back just in the nick of time though, forces away melee meta. Creed and G-Sun have fallen though, so no dive to be had with Budget Shock. I mean, Hira just gets destroyed by Glem there in the attempt to hack that Roadhog, and 8-bit seem to be just snowballing this so hard.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they just keep the pressure coming, and they have the ultimates to back it up as well. The only real power play for Budget Shock at the moment, I think, is getting a good EMP on. That EMP could deny a lot of abilities from 8-bit, and yeah, that's really their get-out-of-jail card for a team fight win. Ooh. But they still have to charge it up, still 30% left on that EMP. Looks like they're not going to have the time for it. They need to win the fight now.
This is incredible. I mean, I was about to say the posturing for Jack was looking for a barrage, but they find the concussive blast kill instead onto Fusion, taking him off the map right now as Luxman is looking to peel for the backline. EMP comes in, cancels out the beat right as it comes through. That's an Ajax, I think, onto Luxman, and it could result in a teamfight win here for Budget Shock if they follow up on it. Fusion Fin almost has a trance online. If they can get back with that and keep Hira up, that would be incredible, but they aren't there in the nick of time. They will be returning from spawn, and there we go. 8-bit take 100-0 on the Pole Shrine, and that's off the back of the Roadhog, I have to say.
I don't know if we're giving too much credence to the Roadhog, but yeah, no bias there whatsoever. No, not at all.
Not at
all. But no, I do love to see the Roadhog. Absolutely love to see it, and maybe that Roadhog will stay. Coming into this next map, we have that pit next to Point, which could be an absolute headache if you are playing against that Roadhog. That hook potential is just insane. We do have when tell Toast in chat saying she hot. I don't know if that's another Toast fan. I don't know. I feel like everyone in chat knows you, Toasty.
I mean, listen. I've got contacts. I'm around.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Quite. I'm trying to be modest here as much as I can, but soaking up the fame, soaking up the glory. To be fair, yeah. being on a cast with the one and only Spag though, I mean, nothing beats it. Nothing beats it.
Oh, cheers, man. I don't think spaghetti and toast is really a flavor combo that.
What do you mean? Yes, it is.
Is it? No.
Yes. Like, okay, no, spaghetti hoops. Spaghetti hoops.
Oh, yes, right.
With, like,
okay.
tomato
I was
sauce.
thinking,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just spaghetti cooked, no sauce, on toast. Oh,
I mean,
bit
even
weird.
that's decent, but like...
Spaghetti hoops, I'm with you there, 100%.
Yeah. Alphabet spaghetti, do you like that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I get too
Hell
distracted
yeah.
by the letters, to be honest. End up spelling weird stuff with them, you know? And the food goes cold, and... Anyway, we're getting very distracted.
You end up spelling some unspeakable words on this Twitch stream.
It just comes out the can like that, I promise.
Okay, yeah. Let's not talk about the unspeakable things that Spag says in their free time. But for now, you know, we do have the Roadhog that is probably locked in. I feel like Glenn would have swapped by now. So we're talking about that pit, potentially a, I guess a focal area of this this matchup. What I'm watching though is actually Luxman and how they do on the Lucio, because they'll also be able to use that pit.
Ooh. Yes, lots of boop potential. We'll just have to see. It looks like Budget Shock have a lot of boops to worry about. The leg's going to come out from 8-bit. With that damage boosted Mercy as well, can rain down a lot of damage. But Jinsu gets there too quickly.
Yeah, Winnable goes down early on, so no soldier to really lock down these long angles to contest those. 8-bit gonna struggle to get in a little bit as G-Sun tries to contest. Jack W recalls away. And the rotation has come through from 8-bit towards the point, so they are going to try and contest that pretty shortly. Budget Shock, though, are the ones getting it instead. Almost have it capped up. There's Fusion Fin going down, though. That is the Roadhog flank we'd love to see. Takes down the Zen. Almost gets away with it as well as G-Sun gets the Coach Gun kill. And Melee Meta will get that power drive through and just sets up their teammates perfectly for it. Jack W and Luxman find kills off the back of that power drive. And Jack W... getting some cleanup kills onto the backline. Nesuno whips out the pistol. I mean, you love to see that.
Oh, I love to see it. Yes, Nesuno. Pistol kill onto Hydra, and that is 8-bit locking down that point. Once again, with this Hog supremacy coming out supreme. In terms of ultimates, though, pretty even. 8-bit a little bit ahead. A beautiful hook to engage, and the Hog swap coming from Og.
Yeah, you were talking about pulled pork earlier. I mean, now we are going to be pulling pork towards each other. It seems as these hogs, you know, going neck and neck at each other. OG going to get pooped off the map. Those are both hogs off the board. No one going to be there to really, I guess, satisfy the butchers on the pole. I don't know if there are any in the Sanctum, but we'll see.
Yeah, there are butchers now. Both of these teams trying to butcher each other. That's for sure. Some nice melee kills there by Luxman. Bit of the Reddit Lucio coming out there. Both kills on both of these teams. Neither yet having the dominance. 8-bit really securing this point.
Yeah, I mean, 8-bit, you've lost a couple of players, and it seems a bit dicey, but they're still keeping control of the point. Budget Shock on contesting that as strongly as they really should be. Granted, there are a couple players down as well, as this tac visor forces them all away. So, they'll go for a re-engage once Creed has returned, but 8-bit aren't going to give him that liberty.
Not at all, especially with those mines placed at that tight choke. Keeping them at bay, keeping them, you know, biding their time, and ultimately ticking up the point percentage for 8-bit as well. But now Budget Shock almost have all ultimates across the board. The temperature is up for 8-bit. They know their time is numbered, and they're just going to head straight in.
Yep, temperature's up. They're bringing the heat right now, and G-Sun finds to whiff that high noon, turning them all into minced meat. Not pork, though. That is the Roadhogs. I mean, the Roadhog hasn't even been killed yet. Glenn is still alive, by the way. I just want to mention that. Still ever present. Same with OG, who uses that whole hog actually to try and force some of these players away. 8-bit doing a very good job of stalling this point right now and turning the fight completely on its head. The 3 kills that were originally got by G-Sun have been negated as 3 are found by 8-bit, the squad, as their entirety. And right now, it's just a Tracer. Hero's going to throw in the pulse, doesn't find anything as Nesuno has whipped out the Caduceus Blaster once again to try and get some kills. And oh my word, 8-bit with the clutch right at the end. They are looking unstoppable on the pole.
The moment they switch to that hog, the tide's completely turned. Budget Shock are at a loss for words here. They don't know how to respond. Another 99-0. Yeah, and the pressure's really on. Budget Shock really want to try and get the better of this hog. Try and find some way to deal with it, but it looks like this map is going to be the map where they try and prove that. I don't know if they will. We'll have to see. Looks like they're not going to stick to the hog, unfortunately. So this could be Budget Shock's time to strike.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Budget Shock here, I'm not sure they're going to run the Zenyatta alongside May, particularly. I think it'll be the Reinhardt swap here for Creed. We know Creed for that Reinhardt pick naturally after the GOATS tournament.
Yeah.
I believe was Creed the winner of the Reinhardt 1v1s as well? I think there was something like that.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah. So generally, Creed should be on the Reinhardt here. And I want to see how this matchup goes between Creed and melee meta now that it's no longer melee meta against OG.
Yes, a bit of a shake-up there. Obviously, OG still with us, but not in that main tank role. So OG gonna have to contend with Glem's really good off tank. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think Creed is up to the challenge at the very least. Definitely one to keep morale high, and at the moment, I think that's what Budget Shock needs. You know, with those two crushing defeats on the first two maps, they're gonna have to keep their head in the game, keep their mental nice and level. Yeah, maybe switch up the comp a little bit. Do you reckon they're gonna stick with this Bull Diva, or they're gonna switch to the Brawl?
Yeah, it looks like the Brawl. I was gonna say, I mean, trust me, I didn't intentionally save my answer until Creed swapped. Totally
I mean, that was perfect timing.
I totally didn't do that. But yeah, you know, Budget Shock here, they'll play the Rush, and it will be a full mirror on both sides. Unless we get some sort of Reaper pick from G-Sun, we have seen them field that on Mecha base, and it is possible. You can TP out and get pretty much the same rollout time. We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see. Both these TPs going to be used. Let's see where they go. Both of them looks like charging straight to point. Looks like 8-Bit is a little bit quicker, but not by much as both of these teams clash.
Yep, clashing in the middle. Better Wall here looks like it's going for Hero, though. There's a segment off a couple of the 8-Bit players, not a single one of them. Winnable actually rotates out a little bit late there, not with their team precisely, and G-Sun is going for the flank to Metro plays. This is looking like Metro, it's just going to be a cleanup after that. OG on the Diva. Actually, yeah, very surprising OG on the Diva here is putting up good numbers.
Yeah, putting up pretty good numbers. Gotta say, big shoes to fill, but they filled them very nicely, and yeah, Budget Shock got the best of them there. I think they caught them out a little bit on the rotation, especially with the Wild Sim going out on the flank. That was enough to put an end to 8-Bit's reign, as now they have the point for the first time in Nepal, I think. So yeah, very well played there. Finally, in a bit of a better standing. Let's hopefully they can keep that coming. Creed does have a Shatter to work with, 50% more than melee meta. So this could catch them by surprise. Speaking of surprise, here comes the Sim TP. The Mei will not enough to stop it.
Well, it's going to be the Ice Block coming in there. You also get the punish onto Hero potentially, as a Shadow goes a little bit wide there for Creed, not showing the main tank prowess we really want to see there, as melee meta goes for the weirdest Shadow ever, but the shield just gets dropped, and Creed right now fighting for their life in the VC against their teammates.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, it was a very wild Shatter from melee meta, but guess it paid off, and now it allows the Symmetra to set up those turrets on that choke and really lock down this point. They do have a Symbol and a Mei ultimate to play with on the side of Budget Shock, so that's really their main engage coming into this one, but there's a lot more ultimates to try and answer for. 8-Bit definitely have the ultimate advantage coming into this. They've set up on the high ground, and here comes the ultimates.
Yep, here they come. Lot of chaos going in here as Glem returns to form, finds two with the nuke, and now it will just be the cleanup. 8-Bit mowing them down with the Symmetra beams. Winnable taking a bit of a tickle from the backside there from that Symmetra turret. Won't matter though as they get that point back, and 8-Bit are still going strong on this rush.
Still going strong. They still got it. They don't need a hog to pop off, although you never know, maybe a hog will make their defense a little bit better. The Shatter into the Mei wall, though. So unfortunate by Creed. Oh, maybe a bit of a fat finger there. Very unfortunate for Budget Shock. That's really all they had to play with as well.
Creed is currently 0-2 in the shadows right now. Not very impressed, as we say, you know, the Ghost Tournament champion, Reinhardt Tournament champion. We should be getting a little bit more shadows coming through, as Melee Meta almost has another one up, gonna pin into the back line, and probably surprise Creed as well. Puts three of them on their backsides, follows up on it. The Immortality Field keeps Melee Meta up, and 8-Bit are on a roll.
They just seem absolutely unstoppable. I mean, just keeping the pressure on. I mean, I really liked that play where they denied Creed the angle to block the Shatter. You know, he charged in there, denied Creed the counter charge, then shattered the backline. Absolutely incredible. And now it's last fight territory, ticks up into 99%. 8-Bit have it locked down with a beat engage from... Oh, it's not enough! It's not enough. They didn't touch in time.
I mean, Spike 9 counter 4.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's another one for Spag 9 counter, and all of them, other than that forced one, again, has been Budget Shock. They're not a big fan of touching the point, just like Shock, I guess. There has been a few Shock C9s this season of Overwatch League, so yeah, not really a hype way to finish off that map, I have to admit. Bit anticlimactic, like we say. But yeah, the Roadhog was pretty fun to watch there.
Yeah, I mean, you always love the Roadhog coming out, and not that we're biased at all, but Roadhog rules. So it was great to see that one. And great to see 8-Bit with such a dominant show of things. I feel like Budget Shock, they had their kind of peak in the first couple of matches, and it's just been a little bit downhill from there.
Yep, just a tad bit, but Budget Shock, they can come back. However, I will not be there to witness it. I'm going to be taking my leave right now, so thanks for having me on, Spag. And I hope Chad enjoys the Spag cast. Absolute goated caster. Thank you for letting me come on with you, and yeah, I'll be seeing you around.
Yeah, I'll see you, man. Thanks for coming on. Like Fancy Play said, Toasty, #1 EU caster. And I have to agree with him there. So thanks for coming, and yeah, wish you well. Hopefully we catch each other soon.
Yep, see you around.
Lovely stuff. Unfortunately, now you're all stuck with me. It's my stream now. Unlucky. So, it's going to be the Spag solo cast. Eichenwald, can Budget Shock get a score on the door? Who knows? Who knows? We're just going to have to wait and see as we get into the next map. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a break while we sort some stuff out. So, I'll get back to you guys very, very soon.
Traveling to Icon, ready for battle.
And we're back into Eichenwald. And yeah, we're basically here to see, can Budget Shock get a score on the door? At the moment, it's was looking pretty even, but now the 1-3 on the scoreboard says otherwise, you know? 8-Bit have really stepped up their game, and, you know, with a cheeky bit of double shield here, with a cheeky bit of hog there, they've really, you know, done a number on them. And they're teasing the Bastion, but knowing my luck, I'm going to cast as Curse It. So winnable, I'm not going to acknowledge that one. I feel like that one is just to catch me out. That's the only reason why the Bastion pick is there. But yeah, hopefully Budget Shock can take it back. I mean, they've shown us in the earlier ones that they were really strong, you know? They definitely had the play, the caliber there, especially with Jinsun on this Ashe. I mean, on Route 66, I think it was, the Ashe had 2,600 damage when everyone else was on 500. I mean, that is no small feat whatsoever. So, maybe they could, you know, get back into that mindset, into the beginning when it was all fresh, no worries. Potentially they could get a score on the door. Although I've got to cut them some slack. They do have a ringer, obviously Creed, stepping in on that main tank role, and also shoving OG off to the off tank. Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky situation to be in. Obviously can't play at your best, but I think they're doing well. They're running with it, and I do like this composition that they've decided to run with. They have that Nano Blade, always good to see. Absolutely love it, and I do have word, super secret word, alright, from the in-game chat, which I know you guys can't see, but I'm spoiling a little bit here. Jack W has said, "Are illegal maneuvers allowed?" And I think I know what that means. I'm seeing them with the Mei. Could potentially be talking about a Mei Sim TP. I don't know if it was fixed, but there was once a strategy you could do where up on the roofs you could Mei wall, put a Sim TP there, and then TP the whole team in over that building. Very unexpected, element of surprise, always guaranteed to get at least a little bit of value. But I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Maybe they were talking about the Bastion, but they have swapped off it now. So really only time will tell what these sneaky, hidden, illegal maneuvers are. Just have to wait and see what 8-Bit have up their sleeve. At the moment, up their sleeve is really Glem and Winnable. They've been the MVPs in this match so far. Glem with some amazing bomb placements. You know, we've seen their bombs kind of thread the needle between all the shields, all the map geometry, and somehow get pick after pick. Really game-winning ultimates there. And then Winnable, like I said, phenomenal DPS so far, despite some internet issues. Still have their head in the game, still have those that potential to clutch out some matches. I remember the first map we watched. They clutched out a fair few with some nice triple kills, etc. So yeah, those two definitely forces to be reckoned with. But that's not to say there's not forces to be reckoned with on the side of Budget Shock. So yeah, all to play for, all to see as both of these teams iron out some strategies, getting their head in the game, getting their strats, you know, all nice and ordered. We love to see it. We love to see it. I do also like the Tracer on the side of Budget Shock, hiding in here, waiting for a nice early dive. Now, element of surprise I was talking about earlier, really going to come into play there. Always good to have that surprise value. And it can work out really well, as looks like this Brawl composition, this Brawl rush going to come out on the side of 8-Bit. It's going to be Jinsen coming out on the Tracer with the Ball Creed to back them up. And really, I think the goal of Budget Shock is to take as many off angles, be as a nuisance as possible, disrupt this rotation, which they do, immediately splitting the team. Half goes onto point, half tries to deal with the ball, and that's exactly what you want. But you do need to capitalize on it. You do need to get those picks as the numbers are down, but it doesn't seem to be coming through as Gleam and Jack W get some picks for the side of 8-Ball. Sorry, 8-Bit. And yeah, 8-Bit have moved on to point now. Budget Shock trying desperately to hold on to it. They did a great job of sectioning them in half, but now the team is back together. Now the Brawl is where they want to be, up close and personal. This is where they will shine, and Jack W takes advantage of it with a nice double kill on that Mei. The bat window used as well, keeping that damage up, and I think it's just too much for Budget Shock to handle. I think the wise thing to do here would be to either die nice and quickly or get out while you still can, and that's exactly what they have done. Now the point is under the control of 8-Bit. They're going to rotate forward. I do like this aggression. You kind of need your Brawl composition to not be out in the open, especially against Hydra on that Echo, raining damage from above. You don't want to be out in the open, and that's exactly what 8-Bit are doing, rotating in, but once again, playing a little bit split. If Budget Shock notice that Ryan is a bit out of position, they can capitalize it on, yes, they do. Get rid of melee meta, punishing him for that out of position play. So yeah, Budget Shock in a pretty good position now. You know, they have that high ground. Creed does die, but has that quick respawn, that quick rolling in. So yeah, that high ground presence is really going to do a lot for them. They can spam down that Brawl from a distance, really wear down the shield, the resources, the healing, all of the abilities they can get rid of before that Brawl can come up close and personal. And yeah, they're just doing a great job keeping the Brig out back to scout as well. Here comes the bomb from Glem though, the one weakness, the Achilles heel for Budget Shock. Doesn't manage to catch anyone with a beautiful shield from Og. Here comes Og's own retaliation as the Flux catches the Ryan. Winnable gets rid of Hydra. It is pretty even though, as they trade Hydra for Glem. Here comes the Shatter. Doesn't connect, and that is it. Over for 8-Bits. As, yeah, the cleanup crew are on it. Jinsen getting a 3k there at the end, cleaning everyone up, and yeah, this is really where you want to be if you are Budget Shock. On this high ground, spamming down from a distance, taking multiple angles, and wearing down the brawl. We don't see any compositional changes. They're committed to this brawl, they think it can work, and a good thing too, because they do have the Mail and both support ultimates. Those support ultimates going to come in handy for maybe dealing with a Hydra copy on the horizon. Looks like they're going to try a different rotation. I really like this. Coming up to the high ground right side, getting much closer, not allowing their resources to be used up too soon, but the copy comes onto the Ryan and immediately shatters the backline. The beat, though, is there to keep them alive, and the May ult as well to completely deny that copy too much value, but it did get rid of a lot of ultimates. Looks like the Trans is there to keep Budget Shock alive. Jinsun with a beautiful pass as well, getting rid of Winnable. That's just what you need. No ultimates, apart from Fab, are left on the pitch, but Budget Shock do not need that rally. They've had enough. They're on the cleanup now, getting the picks, got the numbers, got the advantage. And yeah, just ready to kind of clean them up and go next, really. Meanwhile, 8-Bit haven't had too much luck with this Brawl comp, and they're just kind of bleeding characters at the moment. The initial picks just keep coming out. Creed with a lovely double kill, seeming to be in the zone on this ball, and kind of getting back that main tank difference role. And once again, we see Budget Shock in such a great position. You know, they have the ultimates, both tank ults up and running. Fab with the rally as well in case things get hairy. And that's just pretty perfect. We see Jack W switch to the Sombra, which is pretty good. You can get some nice hacks, especially if the ball rolls in, hack them nice and early, and then there's not a lot they can do. The Flux comes in to try and deny the rotation, and it's going to be immediately shut down. Winnable with a nice pick onto Hydra as well. So now, thanks to those plays, they do manage to get a bit of an advantage. The mine's going to be used on the stairs to deny the push, but Winnable once again getting a pick onto Jinsun. That's Winnable getting rid of both DPS heroes before the fight has really begun. Very, very impressive. Luxman does get a boop onto Oggy, and this is the fight win that they needed. Finally, they get the numbers, they get the momentum to push them all back, and Budget Shock know this. Going to rotate all the way out. And yeah, all in all, a pretty solid fight from 8-Bit. 1 minute 40 on the clock with the cart still rolling. I mean, if they lose a couple more fights here, that could be game. So they've got to keep their head in the game. They've got to keep on top of everything. They do have the ultimate advantage to work with. Both ultimates from the tank line, both DPS, and almost both supports. So it's a lot to deal with if you're Budget Shock. The shots are going to come in nice and early. Here comes the bomb as well from Gleam through the window. Doesn't manage to catch anyone though, but does wear down the Brig shield. Meanwhile, Budget Shock going to rotate out of there with the rally to support them. Here comes the High Noon from Winnable in the backline. Does manage to get rid of both DPSs, and that is going to be, I think, 8-Bit with the advantage. They only really have the Brig and the Sigma to deal with on the point, but the Zen coming in with the Transcendence, pretty clutch, keeping those three alive, allowing Creed to get back nice and quickly, and allowing the Flux to be used on the BAP and the Cassidy. Somehow Shock have held on to this. Somehow they have managed to keep it going, but a beautiful boot from Luxman, gonna deny Oggy any semblance of life. Hydra with a nice clean-up double kill there, and through the midst of the chaos, Budget Shock manages to claw their way back. And that was a long fight as well. About a minute that fight took from start to finish. With Shock coming up on top, 30 seconds on the clock. It's looking very dicey for 8-Bit. The Sombra in the backline with the EMP. That is what all eyes are on at the moment. That EMP is going to be crucial for for 8-Bit to come up clutch. That's their win condition here. Maybe an EMP High Noon could be what they need. They don't really have a Trans to try and deny it, but here comes the EMP, catches two, the mines come through, but not before the copy from Hydra comes onto the Ryan, immediately charging up that shatter. The cart almost gets capped, almost adding another one to that counter, but it is going to be the picks coming through from 8-Bit. Nice double kill there, 2 picks up, and still fighting, still clawing on. Winnable with a nice pick onto Creed. That's going to be pretty huge, especially straight into the High Noon, and finally they managed to get it back just in the nick of time. Winnable with a nice triple at the end there. That's one for the montage. Well done, Winnable. 8-Bit, rotate again. It's a final fight. It's a final point, I should say. Budget Shock, definitely low on ultimates. I mean, they are going to make some switches here. To the mirror matchup, it seems, minus the Sombra. Going to opt for the Mei instead. Looks like, yeah, the supports are also swapping, so it's pretty good standing here. They're pretty confident that they can match them with this Brawl composition. Gonna go for the Zarya instead as well. 60 seconds remaining. It's pretty dicey. Creed with a lovely counter charge as well. The beat coming through from 8-Bit, they mean business. Here they rotate in with the beat and the window. So much damage, so much pressure, but Creed still on top, getting rid of melee meta. Huge bomb. Jack W with a double kill, though. It's going to deny the Ryan and the BAP. 2 amazing kills. Here comes the EMP as well. 4 people caught in the hack. And that is just going to be enough for 8-Bit, I think, to get at least some momentum forward. Oh, the high noon denied as well by Ness Uno, killing them before they can even pop that off. With 19 seconds, 8-Bit kind of need to get as many kills as possible. The quick respawns truly coming in clutch for Budget Shock right here. Without those quick respawns, there's no way they could have done what they've done right here, right now. 5 seconds left. I don't think anyone can touch unless the Lucio can get a nice Hail Mary touch. The Devo flies in, so they do manage to take it into overtime. It is still all to play for, but the quick respawns, the ultimate advantage swaying towards Budget Shock. It's all looking like a win without that last point, being capped by 8-Bit. Do you still have the numbers? I gotta hand it to them. They are hanging on for dear life. But like I said, the ultimate advantage with the window, with the beat, and now both tank ultimates is just coming in clutch for Budget Shock, and that is going to be enough for them to seal the deal with that into overtime. Not managing to get that last point. A pretty solid defense there. They could have almost denied even that final bit. Could have even denied second point. They were so close to running that one home, but didn't quite manage it in the end. Still though, solid defense from Budget Shock. Definitely a different kind of mindset, or a different playstyle coming out from Budget Shock. Really proving themselves not to be in that 1-3 mind space, that scoreboard. Really not owning up to the skill that Budget Shock showed in that defense. But now the tides have turned. Now it's going to be Budget Shock on the attack, and we're going to see 8-Bit's defense. Looks like they're going to opt for a similar strategy with the rush composition, melee meta, doing a bit of a sneaky play there on the Ryan, potentially looking for a cheeky charge. Maybe an early fire strike. Who knows what he has up his sleeves. We did see some teasing in the all chat of some, malicious strategies or some funky strategies coming out. So maybe this is what they were meaning. Pretty wild positioning there from Melee Media. But with one simple charge, they could potentially get back to their team. Meanwhile, the Diva taunting them a little bit while Budget Shock are discussing some strategies. Diva having a nice little dance. Absolutely love to see it. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what kind of composition comes out for the Budget Shock out of the spawn doors. I do like how Hydra's flirting with this Widow pick could be very crucial, and it does mean you've got to be so concise and tight on these sightlines. Oig gonna opt for the Zarya. Creed maybe not on the Ryan, as I might have thought. The Bull, we have seen Creed's Bull kind of outshine them on the Ryan, so maybe Budget Shock are going to play into this a little bit, play into their strengths, which I absolutely love to see, with this more mobile, more divey composition. Quite anti-dive as well with that support line, which doesn't really play against the Brawl, but we'll see how that pans out. No one has spotted Melee Media as of yet, so he's still in a great place to deal some damage. Finally does get spotted out, but the rest of the team are there to kind of assist him in this aggressive attack. Doesn't manage to get any picks or any plays. It's actually going to be Hydra with the initial play onto Winnable. A double kill as well onto Melee Media. That's the momentum. That's the ball rolling for Budget Shock as they rotate in, keep it going. They try and chase down those picks. The Diva from the side of 8-Bit going to try and get some cheeky peel, but does eventually get demexed, and that is going to be a really swift fight win off the back of Hydra's double kill to open stuff up. I think that was just, I think that was 8-Bit kind of scrambling a bit of lack of target focus, maybe. Jinsen does trade with Jack W, so it is still even in terms of numbers, and it is going to be some swaps. We do see the Hog. Absolutely love to see it. Yes. Glam on the Hog. Last time 8-Bit played that Hog, they were absolutely shredding Budget Shock. So we'll see if that works on Eichenwald. We'll see if they can take that Hog supremacy forward. Or if maybe this is just an overzealous, overconfident pick. We'll have to wait and see. They do sacrifice a lot of ultimate potential by swapping to this composition, but it might pan out in the future. But for now, the ultimate's potential definitely on the side of Budget Shock. Fusion Fin going to go down early, but Gleam to follow. So it is a trade. A Zen for a Hog. Jinsun gonna fall though. Oh, but Melee Media not far behind. So it is a pretty scrappy fight. Picks either side, but it is gonna be a pause. I was gonna say, picks either side, but it's all fair game, all fair to play for. It is gonna be a DC on the side of Budget Shock. Very unfortunate. Hydra dropping in and out. Some internet issues. What's new, you might say? I mean, we've had a lot of internet issues so far. I don't know if there's some malicious DDoSing going on. Who knows? I always love throwing that out there. You never know. Never know how seriously they take scrims. But looks like they are pretty swiftly back in the match. So it won't be a long pause. Won't be too long before we get back into it. And before we see if this comp switch up from 8-bit is really going to be worth it. If they are that confident in the Hog, if they're that confident in that pick, then it just might. It just might. But for now, we just have to wait and see. And for now, they have to try and wear down the ultimates of Budget Shock, because they have that advantage. They have both tanks. They have that copy as well as both supports. It's going to be winnable early engage with the High Noon there. Jinsen going to fall, but the copy onto the Cassidy going to be made by Echo. Immediately into the fray, trying to take control of this high ground. They get Hydra out of that copy. So that's one ultimate down already for Budget Shock. And meanwhile, ultimate's being charged up for 8-bit. So they're finally closing in that ultimate econ gap. It's exactly what they needed to do. The Hog play going for some cheeky hooks on the Echo. Always love to see it. Fab does fall, so no rally as of yet. Budget Shock playing nice and slow, nice and concise. Biding their time, waiting for their numbers to be up. Here comes the Pulse Bomb, but Hydra going to be taking care of Jack W out of the fray. Here comes the Flux as well to follow up. Hydra with a double kill. We've seen this before go really well to the hands of Budget Shock. The Hydra double kill to open up the fight. They also managed to sustain throughout the Flux as well. Going to keep that momentum rolling forward with the mines and the rally, investing heavily into this fight. And it's paying off big time as they do manage to take care of Gleam, of Luxman. Mines of 8-bit's own though, coming onto the point, but they have a trans for that. So many ultimates invested by Budget Shock to win this. 3 ultimates so far and counting. Looks like they finally have the picks and the potential to take this one forward. But great job to 8-bit there. Really wearing down that ultimate bank. Jinsun, the nice pulse bomb yet again. And I mean, that's all of their ultimates gone pretty much. They've managed to almost charge a copy, but that is it. Oh, Og getting hooked off the map by Gleam. Very nice play. The Hog there maybe coming in clutch. Maybe that switch was worth. But what definitely was not worth was that ultimate usage. Very behind now, especially with the early hook onto Fab. This is 8-bit's chance to try and get some momentum back. Try and get the ball rolling yet again. They do still have to deal with this Echo in the skies. That's Winnable's job on that Cassidy to try and rain down on the hit scan. Beautiful boot there onto Fusion Fin, but the picks going once again in the favor of Budget Shock. Hydra double kill. How many times do I have to say it in this scrim? That's the 3rd time this map. Meta going off the map. Hydra to follow. It's all chaos, all action, as Budget Shock have the momentum to take this one forward. I don't even know what happened there. I think the good vibes from that double kill opened it up, but 8-bit not giving up without a fight. They do manage to get 2 picks onto Creed, onto Jinsun. That could be it. Ness Uno, the double kill onto the Zen, raining down some damage, and they have thwarted that attack there with a nice triple kill by that Zen. Wow, I don't even know how to summarize that fight. Honestly, we had 2 people off the map. We had the token Hydra double kill to open up the fight, but we had 8-bit with the triple kill by Ness Uno at the end there to seal the deal. I mean, that had everything. Stick a C9 in there, and you would have had a whole cake. So, almost the works, but not quite. But coming into this next one, Budget Shock actually gotta hand it to them. Have done a good job at keeping those ultimates alive. Keeping that ultimate bank nice and fresh. Charging them up for next fight. Creed with a nice boot, but Hydra to fall. That's Jack W trading to get rid of the main man from the side of Budget Shock. Creed does fall, unfortunately, but Jetsu gets rid of Lucky Man, so picks are pretty much even as we come into the Jinsu. With a nice double kill, that's what they needed. 1 pick up for Budget Shock, but the quick respawns are there for 8-bit. Budget Shock also invested a fair few ultimates. They do have both supports. That Zen Transcendence could come in clutch, especially for the High Noon, for the Mines. But they do also have a trans of their own, so the trans budget of 8-bit going to be used nice and early as well with the Mines, but the trans response going to be there. Winnable trading for Creed. At the end there, numbers still pretty low. 60 seconds on the dot. Fab and Jinsun getting the frontline pressure in. Not really who you want to be holding down that frontline. Jack W with the cleanup picks, and that is going to be it. Ticking down slowly but surely for Budget Shock. They don't have the numbers to win this fight, but they're still investing. They have to try and regroup as quickly as possible, but they're just feeding ultimates to Jack W. Triple kill at the end there. And yeah, that was a really long fight for Budget Shock to take. 30 seconds on the clock. Final fight territory we are approaching. Jinsun with the swap from the Tracer onto the Cassidy. Maybe hoping to get some stun value with that flashbang, potentially to stop Gleam with that Hog ultimate. Hydra, all eyes on you, buddy. Last time you got that double kill to open up the fight, and you have the Echo copy. Let's see if it goes. Looks like they get rid of Nesuno, but the Hog ultimate is there to deny the copy any value. The copy onto the brig of all people, but it's going to be enough. Creed going to drop Fusion Fin to follow as well, but it's going to be Hydra getting that value. A nice boop onto Winnable, and just as 8-Bit did to them, Budget Shock are going to get it just in time. I was very scared I was going to cast this curse that, but they did get it just in time. This is the same scenario that they were in when they were defending. 8-Bit just about managing to clutch it out near the end. I mean, this could not get closer. A full swap there by 8-Bit onto that Brawl Rush composition. The classic, you know and love it. They still have the kind of more divey support line there, or kind of more anti-dive support line, but that's because both of them have ultimates. That Transcendence, you don't want to lose that. Such a crucial one to go and engage. Looks like the swaps are also coming out for Budget Shock as well. So both of these teams down a lot of ultimates. 60 seconds remaining. It's kind of dry fight reset territory here, with the ultimate advantage going a little bit more in favor towards 8-Bit. With the rally coming out with Winnable with the High Noon, I think Budget Shock just want to wear down these ultimates, get rid of them as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what they are doing. Exactly what's playing out into their favor. 2 ultimates used, 30 seconds on the clock. Now is their time to strike. They only have to deal with the potential Transcendence on the side of 8-Bit, and they also almost have a Bomb and High Noon for themselves, but Creed going down early, that is going to be brutal. The Transcendence is the cherry on top for 8-Bit with the charge kill as well onto Hydra. It's all come down to this absolute shambles as they get torn apart. 15 seconds. I don't know if Budget Shock have it in them to do this. They have so long to push the cart, so much progress to make up. 10 seconds remaining. They're going to need to touch. It's now or never. Creed is going to charge, but the counter charge is there. The Lucio, can they charge with the Maywall? Stops them, and that is 8-Bit to take the W by the skin of their teeth. GG's all round. Absolutely phenomenal plays. I mean, that's got to be like the closest one so far. I honestly can't think of a match that was closer than that one. As G4ich in chat, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, Hydra playing that Echo character and playing it well. I'll have you know, I mean, so many of the fights from Budget Shock were won off the back of a cheeky double kill opened up by none other than Hydra. I think it was 3 or 4 times when Hydra did that. So truly coming in clutch. I mean, yes, what a way to end it. Unfortunately, Budget Shock couldn't get another score on the door, even though they were so close to having it. They stopped the full map completion, but they didn't quite respond in the same way as 8-Bit did. They didn't quite push the car as far, and alas, that's another score for 8-Bit. 1-4 at the end. Yeah, all in all, I mean, this has been an incredibly close series, and it's a shame Toasty was not here to witness it. The Hog came back again. Maybe we should clip that and send it to him, because he's such a Hog fan. And you know what? Maybe the good luck charm of the Hog came in clutch at the end there, with Gleam absolutely winning it out. But yeah, that's, I think, all we got time for. What a way to end it. What a way to end it indeed. Yeah, definitely stick around. We'll hopefully have some more streams of scrims coming at you in the future. Yeah, !Discord to join our Discord, etc, etc. Sorry Toasty was not here for the handoff, and you had to deal with my whiny voice for the last map. But I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Yeah, definitely stick around, and I will see you all in the next one.